The Honourable Paul Green.
Thank you, Deputy President. I just want to put a contribution forward because this is one of the areas that I particularly take a great interest in as I go through life. So I rise on behalf of the CDP to give a contribution on the Crimes, Domestic and Personal Violence Amendment, National Domestic Violence Orders Recognition Bill 2016. Obviously the purpose of this bill is to implement an agreement of the Council of the Australian Government, known as COAG, to introduce model laws for the National Domestic Violence Orders Scheme, so that domestic orders in New South Wales called apprehended domestic violence orders, or ADVOs, are automatically recognised as and able to be enforced nationally, which is a great initiative. In terms of the background, obviously reducing domestic violence and reoffending is a priority, not just for the government, but also for the Christian Democratic Party. And in December 2015, we know that COAG agreed that each state and territory would introduce model laws in the first half of 2016 to enable an automatic recognition and enforcement of ADOs, VOs across Australia. We note that the case for change is that the NDVOs aim to increase protection for victims across jurisdictional borders, and currently an ADVO is issued in New South Wales, not recognised outside New South Wales unless the victim has applied to have their ADVO registered in a court of that other state or territory. Likewise, New South Wales police and courts will usually not enforce an ADVO issued in another state or territory unless the victim has registered in New South Wales. Of course, victims of domestic violence are often unaware of the need to separately register their ADVO, which means that they could lose the protection of ADVO when they move into state. Victims may also be traumatised by the need to deal with the legal system in another jurisdiction, or fear the possibility of the perpetrator will be averted to their whereabouts. I won't go into the key content of the bill, Madam Deputy President, but just want to make a couple of points. When I was Mayor of the City, obviously we were trying to champion the white ribbon cause, that there's no excuse for violence. Secondly, for that, I just wanted to just take everyone on a little journey that since that campaign, it's really sort of challenged me as a young male to basically step into situations where I see domestic violence, and I've seen it on a couple of occasions, sadly, where I've lived in the past, and of course my mum was in that situation when I was very, very young. So I've sort of made a commitment that while you take the oath in good faith that you will deliver on that moment in time when you see domestic violence, that you'll step in. Well, a couple of times I've seen it and it's been very vicious, and it takes a bit of guts to step into those things, because quite often there will be repercussions if you step in to a domestic violence case. But I've just made a sort of commitment, private commitment with myself, that I'll try and do that wherever I can. And I just want to say that the second time, just recently I had another situation. I was on the side of the road, across the road, down in Narra, and some guy was, basically belting on the window shield of this lady with her kids in the car, and I watched it from across the road, and I had that same conversation in my head that we tend to all have when we see this. Think, far out, that's disgusting, that's horrible. How do I get out of here, or how can I, what should I do, and all the things that come to your thoughts. I should go over, I should say something, but actually it'd be easier just to get in the car and keep going and just ignore this really embarrassing situation that's happening across the road. But I'm happy to say that I went across the road and I tried to use some of my nursing skills and said to the guy that was absolutely trying to give a hiding verbally to his partner or spouse, or whatever relationship they were in, I'm not too sure. But I tried to divert his attention, saying, is there something wrong with the windscreen wiper? Because he was going to break it off, I think. And I said, oh, is there something wrong, mate? Can I give you a hand? And just to divert his attention and try and get him, and in the meantime, I was trying to, talk him, get his, just redirected on another conversation. But it didn't work. All he wanted to do was just put down this woman that obviously he had children to, and of course, give her a mouthful that is virtually going to do all sorts of things to her. And I was thinking any minute now, I'm going to get a punch in the face from this guy. I was ready for it. I was just waiting, thinking, oh, I've got to divert his attention, get the punch in the face, and then she'd get the hell out of here. And fortunately, he diverted his attention quick enough for me to sort of wave her and say, just get out, go. And he was just screaming at me, just going, she's taking my kids to Queensland, she's taking my kids to Queensland. And I thought,
Man, if I was her, I'd be taking the kids to Queensland, even further abroad to get away from you. You know, this is really threatening. This is really horrible. And so, you know, we were able to do that. She was able to read those sign languages and take off really quickly. And all he could do is say, I'm going to find you. You're going to regret you interrupted this. I'm coming for you. I'll find you. And I'll tell you what, you walk away with a very intimidated situation. And look, that was a real situation. But I just want to encourage people here and on the record and people listening out there that, you know, stepping in, it takes a bit of guts. But please try to the best of your ability or where you're at, you know, within the terms of safety and everything else it's doing, step in and protect our women in major cases, majorly because it's mostly women. Step in, protect our women and give them the opportunity to get away from people from such threatening situations like that. So it's situations like that, Madam Deputy President, that I applaud a bill like this, because if that lady does go to Queensland and she does get the kids away from that horrible man at that point of time, and I don't know what happened in his life and I don't know where he's at, but he needs help. And unfortunately, I'm fairly well known down that area. But look, it's priced that I guess the point is, the journey that I've been on to try and do what White Ribbon has asked us to do, as you know, I've got to that place to say I'm willing to step in, I'm willing to take a punch in the face, and I'm willing to sort of stand up and protect this individual from being hounded like this particular lady was. So I want to encourage people tonight that this is, you know, this is a journey we're on. It's unacceptable. There's no excuse for abuse. If you see it, step in. But more so, it's just fantastic that we're getting a national system here that we can protect that woman, not just in New South Wales, that she can find protection in Queensland or right across Australia, wherever she chooses to get the hell out of that guy's life, while to protect her kids and her own life and get back on her feet and function again with the dreams that she probably has in her heart for not just herself but also for her kids and life beyond domestic violence. I commend the bill to the House.
Madam Deputy